Hey guys, it's Rebecca Oberstadt. In today's video, I'm doing another first impression video. I spoke about this when I did one the other day that I recorded, but I said that I had another new palette that I had to do at least a first impression of. I've used it in a holiday look or two. Because I didn't have this color story in my collection and I looked through everything. I decided that when Colourpop released the Wine and Only collection that I would go ahead and pick it up because I didn't have these like really rich like berry tones that are in here. So since this is a very dark palette, I'm going to try and do one eye that is a lighter color setup where I mainly stick with like this row, and then I will probably use like these other 6 colors depending when I do the other look. But just figured I would let you know what I'm working on. I have just some it's like a lip oil gloss kind of thing from Lele Posh. Do not use it over other lipsticks or liquid lipsticks because it will completely disintegrate it. But it's nice and moisturizing on its own. So that's a bonus. So I'm going to be doing kind of like a talkie first impression. I'm going to be working with this Major Chianti. I don't drink alcohol, period. I don't drink wine. I think wine tastes like rotten grapes and burnt oak trees. So I don't like the flavor of wine. I've never enjoyed the smell of it. I'm what they call a super taster, so a lot of things taste bad to me that taste good to other people. So to each their own. I don't know much about wine. I did used to work as a model for Behringer. The thing that they used to always send me on is like Zinfandel or their white Zinfandel or their sparkling Zinfandels. When I did campaigns with them, it was a lot of Zinfandel based wines. I have tasted it depending. I prefer things that are sweet anyways, so my extent of knowledge on wine is based around the brand of Behringer and Zinfandels. I don't know much about wine. I don't really drink at all. I never really have. I don't like the way it tastes. I don't like the way it makes me feel, and I like to be able to think clearly without fogginess. So if you drink, that's all good with me as long as you do you, but I don't drink, so a lot of this is not going to mean anything to me. So alright, so again, going with this Major Chianti, this is an SL Miss Glam brush. It is Precise IE25. So just to show you, there's a ton of pigment on this brush, and of course my camera battery is flashing, and I just turned it on and it said it was full. Go figure. So I'm gonna like lightly tap and then blend. So I'm tapping to place the pigment down, and then I'm lightly blending. I found that working with this palette, doing the like berry colored holiday looks that I did, these are super pigmented. A little goes a very long way, and as you see, I've only picked up the shade once. I don't know if I'm going to do any face makeup, but I'm just going to go ahead and drag this under here. And I'm going about 3/4 of the way in. And then I'm just going to buff out, now that I've got the majority of it off, I'm going to just buff out that top edge and around the corner. Now, I'm going to dip back into this Major Chianti shade just a little bit, and I'm going to focus it right out here and in my crease just to deepen this up just ever so lightly. And I want to build the color on the outer edge of my eye. I don't really do a whole lot of like talky tutorials on my channel. I usually just show you what I'm doing, because as everybody knows, tutorials don't get views, and I don't really care about that. I'm going to tap just a little bit more. And there is a considerable amount of kick up in the pan. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. So tapping ever so lightly into the pan does create powderiness. Alright. Satisfied with that. I'm going to take this Beau Gauche eyeshadow brush into this first shade here, and I'm going to load both sides of it. Now, I found that this works well as it is, but you can also get this wet and it makes it a little bit more metallic. But I want it a little bit more subdued. This is supposed to be more subtle eye. And I'm just connecting it with that color on the bottom lash line, and then I'm just lightly going to sweep up here. Color switching my brush, I'm going to go into that clip shade, which is right here. And it did, actually both shades gave me some fallout. The first shade was a little bit more berry, or more like pink champagne kind of color. This one here has a little bit more pink-ish purple to it. And it's like one of those funky matte shades that's got glitter. And for whatever reason, it's looking a little patchy right along my lower lash line. That's why I keep going over it. But there's some hot pink glitter in there, definitely. It's like every time I put something on, it wants to like take it right back off. Well, the finger helped a little bit. Got a ton of fallout. All right, and then for the outer edge, I'm gonna dip into Cast a Chateau. It's metallic dark writing, so it's hard to see. I think this is more like a super shot. Oh, yeah, definitely more like a super shot. I would recommend a finger with that color. And I have a ton of glitter on my face now from that shade I tried to use in the center. It's all sparkly. So there's the first eye. Now I'm going to grab that first brush again, and we're going to go into Mull It Over, which is this one here. And again, lightly tapping. There's a ton of kick up in the pan. And look at how far that went. It looks a little bit patchy up here in the camera, but it's not patchy, which is weird. All right, I'm gonna grab that Vintner shade, which is this matte shade here, to tap out here. It's like a darker wine color, kind of like a burgundy. It's like a burgundy color where it's got some of that reddy brown purple kind of base to it. Whereas this one's more like an actual like berry. This is like an overripe blueberry color. And if you've ever looked at a really ripe blueberry, it's actually like a purplish maroon color. Blueberries really aren't blue unless you get them when they're not ripe. I'm focusing this darkness on the outer edge because this is such a dark palette. I don't want, and I really like these colors. They make my blue eyes like super pop, but I don't want this look to be, oh my god, dark. mean, it's already, oh my God, dark, but. All right, I'm gonna grab Mon Chéri right here. I'm gonna, ooh, that definitely feels like a Super Shock. That's probably why. I'm glad I used my finger. It feels wet. Yeah, look at all the color left over. That's some serious pigment. And I'm gonna grab that Bogauche brush again and go into play to line here. It adds a little bit of that red shade back in the front. And then going into Blanc, which is the shade I used on the front of this one. I'm gonna pop this on my inner corner and then right up in the front. There isn't as much fallout on my face from this side as there was on the other side. There is, however, some transfer all the way down here thanks to aged skin. And my washcloth is still a little damp from me washing my face when I first got up. So I just kind of set it on that area to kind of get the pigment to loosen up a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm probably gonna put, just so you know, this is the Joyride liner that I got in this like liner kit from Colourpop. I'm gonna use that on my waterline. As I finish up my face, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face because I have a live stream to do here in a little bit, and I will be right back with, you know, the rest of my makeup on so I don't look quite so scary. But here's where we're at right now. Very similar looks. This one's a whole lot darker though, so I will be right back. Okay, here is the finished face. Samantha March Ofra Collab Blush Bronzer and Highlight Ripe Berry Lipstick from NYX, and it is breaking up because I left the gloss underneath of it. I'll show you what I mean. See how my bottom lip is all patchy? That's what it does. Here's the eye look up close. I use the liner like very lightly in my waterline. And I wanted to, since I have you guys back, I want to just buff this out just a little bit more since, you know, I've done other, I ended up doing concealer. Figured I'd do this with you guys on the camera. Now, if you are not into dark looks, this probably isn't for you. But I like the fact that this one you can definitely tell is lighter in color, whereas this one definitely has more depth to it. I'm glad I picked this up because, again, like I said, I didn't have these like colors in my... I don't want to stay up. I didn't really have, especially like this bottom row and this one, I had mainly like 2 or 3 shimmer shades that were similar to like this one, but the rest of the colors I really didn't have in my collection. So I'm glad I picked it up. Even the lighter colors in this palette, I have a shade similar to this, but mine is lighter. It's also from Colourpop. It's the Libra shade, I do believe. And I have an Itsy shade. I think it's the shade from called Boho from the brand ITTSE, Itsy. So I'm glad I picked it up. If you are worried about fallout, you will get some with some of these shades. There is a lot of like kick up in the palette when working with it, and there are 2 like glittery shades. You've got Grapeful and Sip Sip. This one here looks just like this one. This one is like a matte with glitter in it. This one also I haven't used yet, but it looks like a matte with glitter. There are 2 shadows in here so far that I've noticed that are like the Super Shocks. So your finger is recommended. I would recommend using your finger on it, or a wet synthetic brush. This Beau Gouache brush works really well at picking up Super Shock shadows, but for whatever reason it didn't like these. So there's that. But anyways, this is just my first impressions. I really like it. I don't think I will do like multiple looks with this palette, like just this palette, because I have, well, that sucks. I put the palette down and a shade literally just hopped out of it onto the floor. 1 second while I pick that up. I literally now have glitter all over the floor. This is that last shade, and I'm gonna go ahead and swatch it. It like looks like it knocked the glitter loose, and the bottom of the pan looks rusted. Come on, camera, freaking focus. It looks like the bottom of the pan is rusted, and that does not look like eyeshadow. So that sucks, but since this is the shade that fell, oh yeah, it's definitely a matte with glitter, because the glitter was left over my finger. I just ran my hand over that spot on the floor where it fell, and this is everything that like fell off of it. Look at this. Holy bunch of glitter, but the glitter is like maroon and bronze with some gold in it, so there's that. But it is a really pretty like matte shade with, of course, glitter in it, and it looks like it might stain. I didn't have really any issues with the shades staining the first time I used them for the holiday looks that I did, which I don't know when I will get those edited. It's currently on this card that I'm filming on. But what I was saying before the camera so rudely died with the battery is because I have this palette here that I also just got, it has like this shade and this shade that are similar, but I think what I'm gonna end up doing is using this palette as like a companion palette with this one. I think I'm gonna like dip into like both in order to pull looks together, because this is such a dark palette, and because I'm very fair, I mean, it even looks like it's a little too blown out over here, which is something that I like to do. But you know, some people would probably think, oh man, she looks like she got punched in the eye. Well, I probably do look like I got punched in the eye. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about my makeup, to be honest. If you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you kiss my ass. But that's just how I feel about it, because it ain't on your face, it's on mine. But I like it. I like the colors. Again, if you're not into like these very dark looks, I would use it as like a supplementary palette where you go into something like the So Jaded and you use like these more like neutral tones in here, and then use like the berries on like the outer edge and the lid, and then use the shimmer shades on the lid, the inner corner, that kind of thing, using it as like a pop kind of effect for using the shades, or even using the darker shades as like a pop of color right along the lower lash line. I'll try and use these two palettes together to give you a visual of what I'm saying. I'll try and record a video doing that using both, and I'll walk you through how I would use both palettes together. So if you have this one and you have the Wine Now, Wine Not, Wine Never, Wine and Only, if you have either of these, then it'll give you a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Or if you have similar shades in your collection, you don't have to own what I own in order to recreate looks. If you do recreate looks, let me know, and I will definitely feel free to tag me on social media, and I will reshare your post. Nobody's, as far as I know, ever recreated a look I've done, so that would be nice. Anyways, I'm Rebecca Oberstadt. Sorry for the ranty end, but hopefully you guys like. I mean, it's not a solid first impression. It's a first-ish impression because I already used several of the shades in holiday looks. So there's that. So I've used this as like the second time I've used it. and I really like it. Again, I don't think that this palette is for everybody. I think it would be a nice companion piece for something else, or if you have like a nice neutral palette that you like to use for your everyday, use this for like your pop effect. And so yeah, I will see you guys in another video very soon. Have a fantastic day or night wherever you are. And by the way, I'm filming this on January 4th, and I got all my tax stuff done this morning. All of it is ready to go. All I have to do is submit it, and most websites won't let you do that right now, so I have to wait until they unlock all that stuff. But yeah, I got all my taxes for 2020 done. Like, all of the information is pulled and itemized and printed and ready to go. So yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.